Everyone's talking about Cunha finally getting his first goal and Mbeumo's brace, but the real reason Manchester United are suddenly flying again? It's a 33-year-old midfielder most people had written off. Amorim's Reds have now won 3 consecutive Premier League games for the first time since August 2024, and while the headlines go to the forwards, I want to focus on the man who makes it all possible, Casemiro. Despite picking up both a goal and an assist yesterday, I still think we as fans aren't raving enough about this guy. Amorim highlighted Casemiro's impact after the game while also going through what he had to do to get back into the starting 11. He brings a lot of experience. He is an example for everyone. At the beginning, he was behind all the midfielders, even Toby. He fought, he worked, and he is back in the national team. He is so important to us. He worked very hard today. He pressed very high before dropping back. I am really very happy with him. The other players should take Casemiro as an example. Football can change very quickly. You just have to work. If you do what is necessary, you will play. Amorim was quick to commend Casemiro, and rightfully so. It would have been so easy for Casemiro to throw the towel in, walk around with an ego, and say, I don't need to prove myself to you. I'm a 5-time Champions League winner. But what does he do? He gets his head down and shows everyone exactly why he's a 5-time Champions League winner. And I think Amorim explains here a great reason for keeping Casemiro in the squad. It's not just because he's a great player, but because of his great mentality and the message that sends to the other players. If one of the greatest players of all time is willing to get their head down and work, then how can the likes of Ugarte, Xerxes and Mainu complain? The answer is, they can't. Amorim doesn't care how old you are. He doesn't care if you've been excluded from the squad previously. Look at Malacia. All he cares about is if you're going to follow instructions and you're going to give 110% when you represent this club. It's frustrating because it's the main reason players like Diogo Dalot get to start games, but it's also one of Amorim's strengths. He doesn't complicate it for the players. He's very clear and direct about this. Now let's just pause and look at the 11 that started against Brighton. We have Ahmad, Fernandes, Cunha, Mbeumo, Šeško and Dalot. Those are 6 attack-minded players. How do you think we're able to glue all those players together? The answer is Casemiro. Cunha shares this sentiment. My first goal had to be with Casemiro. I have no words for him really. Our relationship started in the national team, and to compliment him as a player is to say the water is wet. He's such an example for all of us. So we know Casemiro is an example off the pitch from the coach. We know he's a positive impact on the players around him. But what about the results? Does he really impact our games? Well, the stats show something quite positive for Casemiro, but damning for young Mainu and Ugarte. Manchester United have conceded 19 goals so far this season. With Casemiro on the pitch, 3. Without Casemiro on the pitch, 16. Which is genuinely ridiculous. United concede over 5 times more goals when Casemiro doesn't play. 5 times more. As much as this is a positive stat for Casemiro, it's a pretty bad one for Mainu, who's looking to get more game time, and Ugarte, who's pretty much fighting for his United career at this point. But this stat was only backed up in the Brighton game yesterday. As soon as Casemiro went off of the pitch, the momentum swung Brighton's way. Mainu looked sluggish and slow despite coming off the bench. Ugarte's passing left much to be desired, as it usually does, and all of a sudden it looked like United were going to fall apart. The fans were showing full support for Casemiro after the game when he left to a huge standing ovation. Even just looking at Casemiro's stats this season, they're genuinely insane. Specifically, he's in the top 98% for defensive contributions and 93% for aerial duels. I mean, look at this. I haven't seen this much green since I looked at United's form in the Prem. Not to mention, Manchester United have won more duels than any other team in the Premier League this season. I'm obviously not going to say that's all down to Casemiro, but we would be naive to believe that he's not contributed to this. But what does Casemiro's future hold? I suspect Casemiro's future will be a big talking point over the next few months. His contract is due to expire on the 30th of June 2026, but there is an option to extend for 1 more year. Now we know that Casemiro is the joint highest paid player along with Bruno Fernandes, which may make Ineos hesitant in triggering that 1 year extension, given how hard they've worked to get the wage bill down at United. As a result, I see one of two things happening. Option A, Casemiro leaves on a free and cashes in for that Saudi money. There have been reports saying he could reunite with Cristiano at Al Nassr. Option B, Casemiro agrees a new deal at United, maybe on a more modest 150k a year, as an experienced fringe first-teamer, but mainly squad player. The club, respecting the quality of player he is, meanwhile asking him to respect the wage structure in place. There is a rogue option C. We actually trigger the extension and pay 300k a week for Casemiro, but I don't see this happening. As we all know, we're going to be bolstering our midfield in the summer, meaning we would be paying 300k a week for a bench player, which disrupts the whole team. Personally, I would go with option B, should Casemiro want to stay at Manchester United, and that's a big if, but if the vibes continue how they currently are, I think we could tempt him to stay. Offer him 150k while at the same time sell to him the opportunity of being a part of the squad that brought Manchester United back to the top. Casemiro then takes Ugarte's place as the squad CDM player, and we move Ugarte on. Who wouldn't agree with that? Amorim said after the match, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't fight in this league, you have no chance. Casemiro has that fight. After seeing how Casemiro has adapted to Amorim and the influence he has on this side, I would now argue that Casemiro just beats Martinez in being Ten Hag's most successful and influential signing. Not a long list, I know, but you gotta give him his credit where credit's due. I hope he does want to stay, he deserves a new contract, and fingers crossed he keeps up the good form. A peak Casemiro took us to third in the Premier League for Ten Hag's first season. Let's see if he can top that this season. I'm going to leave it there, folks, but do let me know what you think about Casemiro in the comments down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the home of Honestly Biased Sports content. But for now, Godspeed.